Alright, let's talk about the real powerhouses coming to Doomsday. Okay, so, look. I've been sitting here for like 3 days trying to figure out how to rank this properly. And honestly, my brain is fried. But we're doing this. We're ranking the absolute heaviest hitters that are gonna show up when the MCU throws down an Avengers. Doomsday. And before anyone starts typing angry comments, yes. I know your favorite character probably isn't here. We'll get to that. Maybe. Probably not. Let's just start. Coming in at number 5, the God of Thunder himself. So, Thor Odinson is sitting at number 5. And I can already hear the keyboards clicking. What? Thor at 5? Yeah, I get it. But hear me out for a second. Because this actually makes sense when you think about it. This dude has been around since literally Phase 1, right? Like, we're talking over a decade of MCU content, and he's still in the top 5. That alone should tell you something. The son of Odin didn't just show up yesterday, he's been proving himself since the beginning. What has Thor actually accomplished, though? Well, for starters, he's the guy protecting 9 entire realms, not 1, 9. And we've watched him pull off stuff that would absolutely destroy most other heroes. When he was younger, and I mean like, barely an adult by Asgardian standards, this guy had already won literally thousands of battles. Thousands! I can barely win an argument with my Wi-Fi router. He straight up rolled into Jotunheim, which is basically the home of frost giants who want nothing more than to turn you into an ice sculpture. And he dominated. He went to where Loki was hiding out, embarrassed him in front of everyone, and made all their warriors look like complete amateurs in the process. But here's something people forget. Thor's durability is actually insane. More insane than Hulk's. And that's saying something. Remember in the first Avengers when they both fell from that helicarrier? Hulk was knocked out cold for hours. Thor? He got up and kept fighting like he'd just tripped over a shoelace. That's not normal, even by superhero standards. And okay, before Infinity War happened, Thor was the only person who'd actually taken a direct hit from a fully activated Infinity Stone, the Ether, and his response was basically, "Is that all you got?" Like, imagine getting punched by an Infinity Stone and your comeback is sass. That's Thor. Infinity War is really where we saw what he's made of, though. Everything he did in that movie was just ridiculous. Thanos, who's supposed to be this genius military strategist who's been conquering the universe for centuries, specifically made sure Thor was tied up and restrained. Not Banner, not Hulk, Thor. Because Thanos knew exactly who the real threat was. Now, could this ranking change? Absolutely. If Thor gets his hands on the ancient runes or the Odin Force in Doomsday, we might need to have a very different conversation. But for now, based on what we've seen, number 5 feels right. Number 4, Sentry, the walking nuclear reactor. Okay, this is where people are gonna get mad at me. Sentry above Thor? Really? Yes. Really. And here's why. On paper, and I mean just looking at the raw stats, Sentry is monumentally more powerful than Thor. Like, it's not even close. The power scaling is bonkers. When you're talking about pure destructive capability, these two are in the same weight class, sure. But what pushes Sentry ahead is actually terrifying when you think about it. Thor has a moral code. He has centuries of wisdom, training, discipline. Sentry's mind is questionable at best. On any given Tuesday, this guy could have a complete mental breakdown, and when someone with that much power loses it, you've got a civilization-ending problem on your hands. The thing about Sentry going on a full rampage is that the only person who can really stop him is himself. If he can't pull himself back, you'd need actual gods plural to even attempt to restrain him. That's the level we're talking about here. Look, I'll admit Sentry hasn't had enough screen time yet to really prove all this in the MCU. We've barely seen what he can do, but Doomsday is going to be his moment. That's where the rubber meets the road, and based on how they're marketing this character, he's being positioned to fill a massive power vacuum during the whole incursion situation. They literally describe him as having the power of 1 million exploding suns. 1 million. That's not hyperbole in the comics. That's his actual power level. So yeah, he deserves to be this high on the list until proven otherwise. Number 3, Victor Von Doom, aka everyone's worst nightmare. If you've been watching my videos, and if you haven't, what are you even doing, you know? I've talked about Doom before. But let me break down why this guy is genuinely one of the scariest characters Marvel has ever created. Victor Von Doom is as smart as Reed Richards when it comes to science. He's as powerful as Doctor Strange when it comes to magic. Already terrifying, right? But that's not what makes him truly dangerous. The most frightening thing about Doom is his ability to just take powers. Straight up steal them. He's got this siphoning device built into his armor that lets him absorb the abilities of incredibly powerful beings, and he's not shy about using it. Remember that first glimpse we got of Doom's armor? His chest plate had symbols from Mjolnir and the Kree carved into it. That's not decoration, that's a trophy case. If Doom has already killed a Thor and a Captain Marvel from another universe, which seems very likely, then he's walking into this fight already equipped with their powers. It gets worse. The more you fight Doom, the stronger he becomes. He's basically the MCU's version of All for One from My Hero Academia, except even more ruthless. His entire philosophy is that he deserves to have the best of everything, and he'll take it by force if necessary. And mark my words, I'll put this in writing right now by the end of Doomsday. Victor is going to absorb the powers of every major heavy hitter he faces. That's how he becomes God Emperor Doom. That's the endgame. He doesn't just want power, he wants all the power. Number 2. Loki. Who broke reality itself? How do I even? Okay, deep breath. Loki's power level is so absurd right now that I genuinely struggle to put it into words. And I'm not fanboying here, this is just objectively true based on what we've seen. First of all, Loki's very existence is a paradox. He died in the future, but then his past self escaped and started his own timeline. Already weird, but then he developed this ability to time slip, which shouldn't be possible because, and this is important, he was moving backward and forward through time in a place where time doesn't exist. The TVA exists outside of normal space-time. It's completely disconnected from the multiverse's rules, which is why Infinity Stones don't work there. Magic doesn't work there. Nothing works there. But Loki was time-slipping through it anyway. And even geniuses like Victor Timely and OB couldn't figure out how that was possible. Then his time-slipping took him beyond normal reality entirely. He survived until the complete destruction of the multiverse, and then reversed it. Like, the entire multiverse was gone, and he said, nah, and brought it back. Oh, and here's a fun detail nobody talks about. Loki is technically billions of years old now. Chronal radiation ages everything it touches instantly, and Loki was moving through increasingly intense chronal radiation with every step. By the time he reached the time loom, the aging he experienced would have been exponential. He's been alive for billions of years in terms of his actual age. So what is Loki now? He's a living paradox. He can't die. He can't be erased. He's an anomaly that breaks every rule of existence just by being there. How do you even fight that? Number 1, Franklin Richards, and it's not even close. If you've read the comics, you already know where this is going. If you haven't, buckle up, because this is going to sound absolutely insane. Franklin Richards is number 1. And honestly, everyone else on this list might as well be fighting for second place. In the comics, when Dr. Doom had absorbed the Beyonder's powers during Secret Wars, which made him one of the most powerful beings in existence, he still made sure Franklin came along with him. Why? Because even at his absolute peak, with God-tier powers, Doom didn't want to risk fighting a child, a literal child. The Beyonder's powers that Doom wielded? That's basically Franklin's baseline on a random Tuesday. At the end of Secret Wars, Franklin Richards casually created the next multiverse, not helped create it, not contributed to it. He created it, by himself. In the MCU timeline, before Franklin could even speak, he was powerful enough to replace Galactus and rewrite death itself. Let me repeat that. A baby in diapers rewrote a primordial cosmic concept. This child stands above entities like Galactus and Death who have existed since the beginning of time, and he was a baby when he did that. Now he's a toddler, and in the comics, it's stated that Franklin deliberately keeps himself as a child because he knows that if he becomes an adult, he'll be so overwhelmingly powerful that reality will become boring to him. He's limiting himself on purpose. Oh, and by the way, toddler Franklin can make himself an adult whenever he wants, in one instant. So if he ever decides to stop playing around, it's game over for everyone. Special mentions, because I'm not done yet. Look, I can't end this without mentioning a few others who deserve recognition. Doctor Strange is not only an incredibly powerful sorcerer, but he also has knowledge of the Darkhold now. which is basically a cheat code for reality manipulation. Scarlet Witch, from whichever universe she shows up from, can rewrite the rules of reality on a whim. She's proven that multiple times. And then there's Rachel Summers, a ridiculously powerful X-Man who might show up in Doomsday according to rumors. She alone would be enough to handle most incursion-level threats. All three of these characters could easily make this list depending on how things play out. So, what do you think? That's my ranking. 5 incredibly powerful beings, each capable of reshaping reality in their own way, all headed toward the same massive conflict in Doomsday. Did I get it right? Should someone else be at number 1? Did I forget someone completely obvious? Let me know in the comments because I genuinely want to hear what you think. If this video helped you understand the power scaling better, throw it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, seriously. It helps more than you know.